I'm Rhowan. So I was going to a conference, and it was like an art centre kind of conference. It happens once a year, so a sort of thing where you go and stay overnight where the conference is being held. So it was at a hotel in Caesus, which is near Newtown, and the name of the hotel's Maes Mawr, and it's quite a picturesque kind of place. Arriving, and it was a really kind of one of those clear autumnal days, and there were apples that had fallen off the trees in the garden. I thought, what a waste, that nobody's picking those up and making use of them. But you go in through the main entrance, and it's I suppose it actually is quite an old hall or an old mansion, so it's kind of got these exposed timbers, sort of oak frame and white panelling. It's that kind of look to it, to the place. You go in through the main door, and it's very traditional, sort of dark wood, cherry red leather sofas, whatever you call them. But the part that the conference is held in is kind of out the back, so you go through the old part of the building and into this extension, which I'm not sure when it was made, but it kind of has that 70s feel to it. And in retrospect, it's a little bit shining. These long corridors with carpets and things. It has that feeling to it. So anyway, there's the conference, and then in the evening there's a meal for people who are staying overnight for the second day. And so I was actually going to be presenting on the second day, so I was staying overnight. And the meal was in this kind of really quite small room, so everybody packed in around this table, and again it's all this dark oak panelling and stuff, and I don't remember much about it except there was a cheese souffle involved as a starter. I suppose there was a little bit about altered states of consciousness in there. There was somebody who was a rugby player who was talking about the other players in his team taking things called meow meows before a match. Anyway, it was kind of like a peculiar time, but I thought, no, I won't stay up and get completely drunk, because I have got to give this presentation in the morning, so I'm going to go to bed, early, 10 o'clock. So I went up to bed, and then the next thing I really sort of remember is being woken up by somebody at the foot of my bed, tapping on my leg and telling me, get up, Rowan, get up, Rowan, and this going on, and sort of in this groggy state, thinking, it must be people coming upstairs, banging on my door or something, in that kind of state of you're not really awake, but you're not really asleep, but you're aware that something's happening. And it was kind of, get up, Rowan, get up, Rowan, get up. And when I came to sufficiently, I realised that it wasn't that. It wasn't Ian coming up and rapping on my door telling me to get up and have some fun. But also, it wasn't a scary or intimidating experience. It kind of felt, it's a bit of a cliche for a ghost story, but it kind of felt protective, like someone was looking out for me, and I needed to get up or to wake up, to be. The idea is, I don't know, maybe there was something intimidating and that they were actually, protecting me from that. And then as I kind of I was really calm and just became sort of aware of what had just happened. I thought, oh wow. And then there was this intense ringing in my ears, just really prolonged, intense ringing in my ears. So then that was something quite strange. Louder than what you get after a really loud rock concert. So that, I don't know what that was. And so anyway, I was sort of a couple of hours later got up and went downstairs to breakfast, where there were, the other conference delegates sitting around having their eggs Benedict and whatever. And I kind of, in this kind of, I can't quite believe what's just happened to me, went, oh, so I got the haunted room then. And everybody sort of sat up and went, oh, did you? Which room were you in then? Because I thought it was number, whatever it was, number 9 or whatever it was. And I was like, what? You mean this place is haunted? At which point it was like, yes, it's known to be haunted. I honestly had no idea about this before that point, and so that was kind of quite funny. And then I was sitting across having breakfast opposite this Australian guy called Ian. He's quite a loud character. And one of the other delegates who I know she works at Span Arts, Gwen. And because they've both got this kind of Australian connection, Gwen's lived in Australia, we were just sort of, I don't know, just chatting aimlessly. And I sort of said, oh, you know Gwen's actually creative, don't you? She does this whole cabaret act, with feathers and outfits and stuff. And he started singing, I think it's the Barry Manilow song, Her Name is Lola, He then says, oh, I've got to go and, get ready for the rest of the day. Walks out of the dining room, and I think it's Radio 2 or whatever radio station it was playing over the intercom, that very same song comes on. Yeah, I can't really believe it. It's weird. Just a weird experience. That's about it. Do you want to ask me anything?
So, did you find out whether it was the haunted room, or if it is a specific room? Or
I think there are a couple of specific rooms that are known to be haunted, but that one I looked up on the website afterwards. I don't think that one was one of them. I think actually Gwen was staying in the old part of the house as well, and she did say that she thought she heard some knocking noises around that time, sort of 5ish or something in the morning. So I don't know, you try and then start to rationalise things, and I think normally I'm quite rational, although at the same time I think people around me have always believed in kind of ghosts and there being things, and so maybe that, although I sort of say no, I don't really, I'm not really that way inclined, I don't go out seeking anything, maybe that somehow has programmed me to kind of pick up on these things, if there is a noise or whatever. But it's sort of dubious, really. I've certainly never ever experienced anything that strong, and that's what made it stand out for me. You get, there are places that have weird feelings in them, and often you tend to get that around stairways or in my mother's house in the kitchen, like there's somebody in the kitchen, and I don't know, no, but never anything that tangible, and the fact that I could actually physically feel it and physically feel this kind of banging on my leg and this sort of tapping on my foot, it's really like set it apart for me.
And in your sort of waking during this sort of experience, and as you're waking up, did you actually see anything, or was it?
No,
it was purely
it's purely oral and physical contact. Yeah, didn't see anything at all. I wasn't afraid though to open my eyes and look or anything, and I think maybe that's because I sort of gradually came out of it, wherever it was. And there was just this kind of sense of calm and safety and protection from something, and I think maybe I'd been stressing myself out about giving the presentation and wanting to be up early and bright and early and not oversleeping, and and that could have come into it. Or it could have been the red wine and the cheese souffle, yeah. Who knows? maybe one day I'll see Ian again, and he was like, "Ah, yeah, I remember when I played that prank on you and you thought it was a ghost or something like that." But who knows?
Do you remember what room number it was?
It, for some reason, in my head, I think it's number 9, but I can't be certain about that. I know it's you kind of go up the stairs, and it was one of the first rooms in the old part of the house when you go up the stairs. On the left.